fam, yes, I'm pretty sure you know. Unless you don't, because you're new. But anyways, I'm here to talk to you about some first aid. So there's a bunch of different types of injuries out there that you can get. And some of them are very dangerous. Some of them you can just treat at home. But let's talk about severe bleeding. So severe bleeding, actually, let's just talk about our first aid kit. So our first aid kit is one for home that is a good one that you should use. And sometimes you would have like a bunch. Since it's a home first aid kit, you're gonna have a bunch of stuff in there. And I perfectly made this tight. But anyways, so severe bleeding. So if you have like bleeding a lot, you make sure you wear gloves. If you're another person, besides themselves, and you have to keep putting layers of bandages or gauze on them. So let's see if I can find. So basically, you could put these on if you wrap it around, or now this room's cozy. But anyways, so you keep adding layers. If it soaks you, add another one. Keep adding it, and also apply a little pressure. If it has too much, like 20 of them on you, it's time for you to put this. You wrap your arm, make it tight. I forgot what it was called, but so let's say you're in camping or something, you wrap the bandage around. Sometimes you could use probably a triangular bandage, one of these. You know, you can use them for like a sling if your arm is broken. But okay. But anyways, if it's too tight. Well, make sure you don't make it too tight. So you first wrap it around pretty stiff or tightly, and make sure tie a knot to make it stay. Then get like a twig, or if you have a pencil, put in, twist it in one way so it can make it a little tighter. And yes, it will cut off the circulation to your hand, but it's either losing your hand or arm or you dying. And since you're bleeding too much, it's supposed to like hold it down and apply so the blood won't go through. And you know how if you pinch your finger, it turns white to pink? This is basically that, but it's going to take a little bit more, like way longer, just to turn back to pink. Next, let's talk about allergic reaction and anaphylactic shock. So allergic reaction, there's a difference between that. But allergic reaction is a little bit better, I guess, less severe. And right now they're making something called EpiPens. Well, I'm pretty sure you should hear of that. And they used to be pretty cheaper, but now since they know that they can make money off it, the manufacturers made it like $40 a pen. So it's this thing that has a giant needle in it. So let's say you have a bee sting or severe like allergy. You should to get EpiPen, take the blue cap off. Then you get the needle.
No, what are you doing?
And then you get it and then right into your thigh with a bunch of force. It's all because when you get if you get allergic reaction, or let's say you go to anaphylactic and stuff, your veins are swelling up. So this I forgot what the medicine is called, but it's supposed to compress it and make it smaller to make it normal. But let's say you stab yourself in the hand. These veins are already pretty small, and you stab it, it compresses it down. It's gonna strangle it, and then it's gonna cut off your blood circulation. And also, these needles are big and strong, so if it's long and strong, rhymes. But so let's say you put your finger bam, right? It goes through your finger, through the bone, and through your fingernail. That's how strong it could be. Well, it's probably just your finger bone. I don't think this could, but if you put on your knee, definitely not. But make sure it's around the thigh. So burns. Actually, let's talk about blisters. So blisters, you know how you got blisters? You're not supposed to pop them, especially if it's on your feet, and because you can get infection. Let's say it's on your feet, right? You get some moleskin for that, or you can get these glacier gel bandages, so they won't hurt. Yeah, moleskin. So you can put it on. When you put it on, it it won't like damage your blister. It won't pop. It won't get affected, and also it just protects it from getting like friction and stuff. So, so next is burns. So there's first, second, and third degree burns. So if you have a first degree burn, which is the most common, which is just basically a sunburn because you didn't get sunscreen. So you can just like rinse it, or you can cool it down with like cold water and stuff. But next is second degree burn, which is basically if you touch like an iron or something, like a stove, like that, pretty fast. It's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting, and it's gonna get swollen up. So you can also treat that at home by like cooling it down with cold water and stuff. Make sure you don't cool it too fast, you can damage yourself.
More energy.
Huh?
Speak with more energy.
I know. And finally, the third degree burn, which is the scariest burn, actually. So if you have the scariest burn, I'm gonna call it the scariest burn. It's gonna look nasty. So basically, it's like getting like a hot iron or something metal that's very hot. You put on your somewhere, and you hold it for like 5 seconds. You could actually see your bone. And it destroys your flesh and stuff. You can see the insides of you. So you should definitely call 911. And they could help you there. If you try to treat it at home, I don't know how. You can, because that's probably not going to work. But anyways, let's talk about hypothermia and frostbite. So frostbite is when like your hands, feet, limbs get super cold and they're losing heat. And so basically the brain is like, well, we can't keep up with this coldness. We're going to have to protect the most important area, the inner abdomen, chest thing, because of all the vital organs. So that's when like all your heat right here is going to go away, and your skin is going to turn blue, then purple, then black. Black is when it's like you're just gonna lose your finger at this point, or your hand. Blue is like your first sign, like it's not gonna be good. But if you manage somehow to cool it up, make sure you do not heat it up too fast. It's gonna hurt the person, especially if they have hypothermia. Also, let's say it's on the hand or feet, right? You might think to add friction and stuff, like to get heat, or to do this around the hand. It's actually gonna hurt them, and it's also gonna scrape off the skin, so you cup it. Also, you can add like these warmers, or like these wrappings around your fingers. You can wrap it like this, or you can do this, individual ones. So what do you think? You should wrap all of them like this, or individual?
Wrap all together.
Actually, that's bad, because since your hand's frozen, it's gonna heat it up, it's gonna melt and stuff. Your fingers are gonna get stuck. It's gonna be hard, like. So yeah. Next is hypothermia. Hypothermia is when you're losing too much body heat, and basically that's not good. Some signs is that they're like they're feeling clumsy, or they are clumsy. They're not their normal selves. You can touch them; they're very cold. And something bad is like that's not gonna help. Is that they won't feel cold, because at this point they don't want to think of cold. They're thinking that they're warm. So you give them a jacket, they're like, no, I don't want it. Yeah. So basically they're outside in the snow, just like in a t-shirt, shorts, like, yeah. So the good thing is like a good way to handle this. It depends on how bad the hypothermia is. You can treat at home, or you can probably call 911. So if they're like losing too much body heat at like too fast pace, call 911. If you're in the woods, that's not good, but try to keep it warm. And if you have like, let's say you're home hypothermia, you have to add like blankets, try to warm up body heat, and keep adding layers. And there's some movies, they're like this. I think there's like this one movie, like Everest or something. Like I think they got like hot water and like put it on them, but that's actually like, yeah, that guy was like, oh, he's messed up. And they just poured hot water on him, which is not a good thing because that can also send him into shock if she fell. But, so, like, one time my scoutmaster, he was going, the troop is going snow camping. He gave away too much, like, layers because he's forgetting this stuff and he got hypothermia. Yeah. Okay. So this is how, earlier I want to show you how these things are. So this is the thing to help with blisters, to cover it and stuff. Is cold. So you won't like, it's cool and moist so it won't burn. The moleskin, it's kind of simple. Okay. The notepad. Okay, by the way, the notepad is in pencil is also pretty good at camping and stuff because let's say you got bitten by a mammal, a wild animal, right? And you can't catch them to bring them to specialists. You write down how they look like, if they're foaming at the mouth or anything like that. Not a big deal, right? Yeah. Mainly you can do it with like a mammal because if you can't describe them or you can't catch them, they're going to like get you with like a bunch of shots just to find out that like if you have rabies or something. Okay, now let's talk about heat exhaustion and heat strokes. So heat exhaustion is like when they're dehydrated, they're overheating, and that's when you can tell if they have like cool, clammy skin. I like that clammy. It sounds disgusting, clammy. But anyways, so a good way to handle this is put on a shade, AC, something, but probably don't want to heat them too, cool them too fast. That can also hurt them. And it's way less severe than heat stroke. Heat stroke is when like there's like really bad. You should call 911. And they're basically, on both of them they're sweating a lot. But heat stroke they're like sweating so much that like they're losing too much water. If you just give them water, like a water bottle, they're going to drink it all, and that water is just going to come straight out. Either pee, like when they pee, or like they just sweat all of that out. So they call 911 because the water's not going to do anything. They're like, so there's a difference. So also another sign of heat stroke is that they have a dry red skin. Like it doesn't. You can't imagine how that looks like, but it's not good. So now you probably should know the difference. One is bad. The other one is super bad. They're bad. But anyways, so after when I'm done, actually I'm going to talk about heart attack. So heart attack is like, you know what a heart attack is? They're like, so in the movies they're like, but I think they went to cardiac arrest. So cardiac arrest is when the heart starts like beating. But anyways, so heart attack, they feel heavy or like it hurts here, or they're like it hurts the head, they have a headache, and like it hurts here in their heart.
Yeah, okay.
So anyways, so during a heart attack, basically just lay them down, call 911 to get it fixed, because heart attacks can lead to bad. There's not really much you can do. If they go to cardiac arrest, so people out there are actually pretty dumb. So people is like, oh no, my grandma got cardiac arrested. So in the comments like, do you know what that means? Like, yeah, she got arrested. Like, no, that means her heart stopped beating. Like, oh. And Oreo was like the one like, oh no, my grandma went to Cadillac arrest. Cadillac. But anyways, so you call 911 if they go to cardiac arrest. Try to do CPR. So you do this, do that. Get the bottom of your hand, push down. Make sure it's like around here. Make sure it don't hurt. But actually, it's gonna hurt them a lot by breaking their ribs. It's either a broken rib or you're gonna die. But anyways, you can't, if they go to cardiac, it's kind of hard to tell if they're dead or not. Because if they're dead, basically CPR is useless. So when you do a CPR, you have the 30 compressions. So for adults, like 2 inches deep. Kids, like probably 1 inch deep or 1.5 inches deep, and maybe like a toddler infant, you have to do this like a little more like 1/2 inch or more, like an inch. Do this like like that. It's gonna break their ribs. So it's gonna hurt. Well, they're not gonna feel it, but it's gonna cost them a lot. But it's either their life. So you probably should have heard about an AED. So like in the health office, school, or at work, it says AED. So that's this machine that it's like a defibrillator, but it's automatic. So basically, there's 2 patches. First, you have to do CPR, and some person comes in with an AED. So they put a patch here, which says so, and another one down here, and then it will tell you to stop doing and touching the patient. Like that means stop doing CPR. It'll warn you and stuff, and it'll tell you when it shocks. It will shock every 2 minutes, and it will not shock them if their heart is beating. Also, after it shocks, it tells you when to do CPR. It has beeps, like beep, beep, and you have to do CPR with it. And a good way to remember the pace of CPR is like the beat of another one bites the dust, or staying alive. Oh yeah, so this is video. It shows how not to CPR. So this guy, say this is the body, right? He's like, tell him if he's awake or something, if he's okay. Like, the guy is like, he's definitely okay. He has no arms and no legs. Do we even bother helping at this point? There's nothing to live for anymore. He has no limbs. Like, I would like to live without arms. Well, we don't have legs. Like, well, you don't have arms either. You do nothing. There's a whole video. But anyways, so instead of doing this, right, do this. And we practice that. And the dummies stuff are very expensive, but it's going to help. But sometimes CPR is not going to be effective because they're probably dead. So that's why you need a specialist. And AEDs are very helpful because it's automatic. But some bad things about it, it's not bad, but you should follow the instructions, because if you touch it when it shocks, it could shock you and injure you. And when it's measuring the heartbeat, it can also measure your heartbeat when you touch the patient. That's how cool it is. Anyways, let's talk about bruises. Bruises is something you can treat at home. I've gotten a lot of bruises before. Pretty sure you have. But it's when a blood vessel probably broke or popped a little. So that's why it turns like purple, red, blue, green. And so some people, when you get punched in the eye, you get a black eye. That's also a giant bruise. But so red is probably when there's bleeding in there. So purple is when it's trying to heal itself. It hurts still, when you touch it. I don't think I have a bruise right now. But anyways, and green is when all the cells are just dead. If you have pains right here, or bruises around here, is actually kind of dangerous because it's called internal bleeding, which you're bleeding from the inside. That's when you call an ambulance, and there's no way you're gonna, you can't save them unless you're a doctor. Okay. So now we just want to talk about shock. So there's a bunch of different shocks. There's neurogenic shock, cardiogenic shock, I think, and there's I don't know, but I forgot the one. It's with an H. Google it. But anyways, these names are very complicated, and I don't know why they can't come up with a simple name like car crash shock or something. But the most common one is also one of the most deadliest one, because they happen when you get in a car accident or maybe cut yourself and you're bleeding everywhere. So to treat this, you have to do what you have to do with severe bleeding. But yeah, so do you know how I talked about wrapping it right and it cuts off the blood circulation? It's called a tourniquet, and tourniquets are the last resort if you can't do anything about it. So if they're bleeding everywhere, call 911. This help. And when you call 911, they take care of anything. Try to help them first, try to patch up all their bleeding, And like cardiovascular shock is when their like heart has like heart stops. And anaphylactic is like allergy, stuff like that. But anyways, wait, was there more I talked about this morning?
How about stroke?
Oh yeah, stroke.
Papa.
So stroke, you have to think fast. so fast is like you actually have there's an acronym and you have to act fast. Call 911. Check their face. So F is for face, A is for arm, C is for I don't know. Well, can you pause it? Pause it. I need. So, actually, it's not C, it's S, because every time I say face, the first time I think of C after that. But it's S for speech. It's how they talk. The talk is slurred, like, so they can't, like, pronounce letters and stuff. And time. So time is really important to see how long it takes to get ambulance here. And time is really important if, like, how much time they got and stuff. So, strokes happen quite a bit, actually. You can either, you have to probably, it depends on, like, you can go to the doctor for that, to your home. But mainly, you should call 911 for a stroke. So I think my grandma got a stroke once in the bathroom. It was actually one of the most dangerous things to happen because no one can get into the bathroom. And she also slipped and hit her head on the corner of the sink. Mm-hmm. So, which is also a double whammy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go into too much detail, but you can see how bad strokes can get. So, what else was there?
How about diabetes?
Diabetes, I can't.
No, okay, something else. How about choking?
Oh, yeah. So choking, you should do that. You should ask them, "Are you choking? Are you choking?" So that's a meme, but it is a good one because if they can like, usually when they're like choking, like, but if they can like yes, that means they can breathe because if you can only talk and breathing. But so first you have to pat them hard on the back, like bam, 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 with the bottom heel, like bam, 5 times to probably get it out and stuff. But if that doesn't work, you do the Heimlich maneuver. So you get your thumb, get a belly like here, and then you do fist, do this or something. Mm-hmm. I don't think they taught us that, but and then you like push hard in and up, and there it's gonna hurt them, probably bruise them. Well, it's gonna hurt them, but it saves your life, and you've seen it in movies probably. Mm-hmm. So what else is there?
Seizure.
Oh yeah. So seizures are also very important. Do you know how in movies and stuff they're like that?